Hello everyone. I wanted to make this quick video as you're preparing to do your book study professional development because I'm asking you to do something that you have not yet really had a chance to do, but what I believe as your teacher educator, instructor, is important for you to learn. So up to this point, you have taught students lessons, but I'm asking you now to teach your peers. And that's a little bit of a different way to give instruction. I've been teaching you a lot of effective strategies for how to teach students, but I also feel like it's important for you to learn the effective strategies for teaching your peers. Most teachers actually balk at professional development. They think it's ineffective, they think it's a waste of time, and there are teachers that actually have learned over time better ways to develop themselves professionally than in some of the ways that have been offered to them by their principals or their districts or in those kinds of professional development days that they're being offered. And so I've done extensive research. It's part of my research agenda to try to understand better the effective characteristics of professional development so that we can improve in-service teacher learning. And I also really believe that it's important that you all develop teacher leadership capacities, not just the ability to teach students well, but the ability to facilitate change within your districts, your PLCs, your schools. And so part of my job as your teacher educator is to facilitate that, hence why we have this assignment. And so just to give you some tips to prepare or to help you prepare for your professional development learning session, I want to go through what research has unanimously identified as 6 core features, or at least 6 core characteristics of what comprises effective professional development. And I hope that by sharing this with you, it will improve your ability to teach your peers in the coming weeks. So let's just jump right into it. As you can see, these 6 features are divided into 2 separate categories: core features, structural features. Not that that's that big of a deal. But under core features, you want to make sure that every professional development is focused on content knowledge. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that we're learning like history or science or math. Focus on content knowledge means that you're focused on specific knowledge and or strategies that teachers need to improve their practice. Every teacher wants to get better, I would assume. There are some teachers that maybe, at least on face value, feel like that they are good with where they're at. But most teachers enjoy professional learning when it's something that they're actually learning. Most teachers feel like professional developments are ineffective when there isn't a focus on specific knowledge and or pedagogical strategies that will help them in their practice. If it's irrelevant, if it's not connected to what they're doing, all of those things make it so that teachers feel like the professional development wasn't effective. So that's something you need to focus on. And I'm going to give you some application tips in just a sec. Opportunities for active learning. Nobody wants to just sit and be lectured at. Clearly, I'm doing a poor job at creating this video, but it's all I have at this point. And so you want to make sure that your learning experience creates active learning experiences for your peers, right? Asking questions, asking or giving them opportunities to apply what they learn. All of those things will encourage active learning. And then last, you want to make sure that what you're teaching them is connected with what they're actually doing in their practice. And that's a big piece, right? And you've all had that same conversation with me. At times you've expressed like, yeah, some of these things are cool that we're learning in class, but I feel like they only apply to a face-to-face setting. And I really would like some more hands-on experience with virtual learning. And so that is a direct symptom of an ineffective professional learning experience when there's not coherence. Something I'm reflecting on too as I'm trying to improve your learning. And so how do you take all these kind of big theories and abstract ideas and put them into your, book study professional development? So first and foremost, I would say when you're studying the book, I would pull out 2 to 5 specific strategies or specific ideas that teachers or your colleagues can use from the book that will improve their practice. So I'd focus there. Make sure that when you deliver those ideas, that you're trying to deliver them in an active way, or at least getting your colleagues or peers to get actively involved in the learning of those principles. And then create a space where you talk about in your professional book study, presentation, how they could connect that to what they're doing in their practice. If you do those 3 things, the likelihood that what you will deliver to your peers will stick, they'll learn, and they'll be more engaged and interested in wanting to get something out of what you're delivering to them. So those are the first 3. The next 3, in my opinion, kind of meld together to some degree. So the form of the activity, honestly, sometimes the ineffective professional development is like, sit down, we're going to share something for a couple minutes, set, go. And we expect teachers to learn. And so the form of the activity is important, right? In terms of, and this is where I feel like A and B meld together. Are we just having them all sit there and listen, or are we having a collaborative opportunity? And so being able to collectively participate with teachers from the same school, grade, or subject level enhances the professional learning experience. Now, I know that in your case, that's not going to happen, right? You're not going to be obviously fraternizing with people from the same school or even the same grade level or even in the same subject. But there is a collective participation altogether. And the hope would be that as you collectively work in this kind of mixed content area PLC, nonetheless, the form of that activity will still strengthen your understanding of general principles like neuroscience, which is what you're studying in Attack of the Teenage Brain. And so the other piece would be the duration of the activity. Clearly, it takes a lot of time to learn how to be a better teacher in some aspects. And so granted, you're not going to get all of it here, but just the fact that your colleagues are reading, that they're coming and having conversations with you, and that the duration then would continue beyond that will increase the likelihood that this professional learning that you're providing them will be more effective. So what I would say is, in terms of the form of the activity, try to make it more of a collective experience, not just like you being the sage on the stage, having an opportunity where you're discussing together and you're facilitating rather than directly teaching. I would also make sure that you give them invitations to extend, whatever they're learning to their practice, not just connecting it like we learned with coherence, but that the duration then is not just, oh, yeah, I read the chapter and yeah, I listened to somebody give it to, me in my methods course, but that they have an opportunity to extend their thinking and practice beyond the professional development session. So I would highly recommend you do those things. So the likelihood that you follow these 6 ideas and tips that I'm giving you will increase the likelihood that your peers will learn from you. You won't be perfect at this, I know. None of us are, right? We're all learning on how to be better teachers, and this is your first crack at really teaching your colleagues. But I figured these tips might help you in at least preparing a little bit better to teach your colleagues. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you all come up with and the outcomes of this experience.